तो आकाश 5-6 साल से तुझे किसी ने फोन पे तुझे बुलाया नहीं है?
नहीं, Kevin called. And not Kevin. But anyway, I have news. I watched Fast and Furious 9.
वेट, तूने बोला तू थिएटर में देख के आया, बट यहाँ तो लगी भी नहीं है कहीं शायद.
No, it released earlier everywhere else apart from US.
Oh, what the hell?
बता भाई कैसी थी पिक्चर?
If you like the Fast and Furious series, you most likely will like this one as well.
It's like if you're a Salman Khan fan, then you will enjoy it. वैसा ये same concept है.
It's very formulaic.
Review. We are starting off the podcast with this level of review. मुझे लगा कुछ interesting लगेगा.
It's decent, but it's not better than the like 5 or 6. They're still top tier in that franchise.
यार मैंने टोक्यो ड्रिफ्ट के बाद शायद और कोई देखी नहीं है. उसके बाद वो लौंडा मर गया और फिर मैं डिप्रेस हो जाता हूँ जब भी सीरीज का कोई नाम लेता है.
To this action set piece, something about Dom, Vin Diesel trying to do it alone. Then another action set piece. Then an action set piece to top that. Then the villain starts to work with the Vin Diesel. Then the villain becomes a friend.
And then they make a separate movie. No, and then they make a separate movie.
Exactly, and then they do the exact same thing in the next movie. And people are like,
इसका कौन सा what kind of a past did this guy have कि 10-11 मूवी बना चुके हैं. अभी जॉन सीना भी इसका भाई निकला. अगली बार किसको लाएंगे? मतलब मुझे समझ नहीं आया. Like we are running out of relatives for this guy.
What made me question is that before, in this movie a character comes back to life. If you've seen the trailer, you know which character it is. That died in the previous movies. Yeah.
Paul Walker.
And they became friends. Han. Kevin knows Han. And you should know.
Oh yeah, Han. I know Tokyo Drift.
So in the before movies, they showed Jason Statham killed Han. That's how he died.
Okay.
Like his accident was Jason Statham did the accident.
So how does he come back to this?
But he didn't die in the accident, no?
Jason Statham becomes a friend, part of the family. They invite him to the barbecue. And I'm like, this guy murdered your friend. And you guys are just like, said, it's okay, man. Enjoyed our barbecue.
उनको पता था ना 2 मूवी बाद बंदा is going to come back to life. तो अभी लड़के क्या फायदा?
So this is like, okay, like Marvel has a plan. A lot of movies, some movies have a plan through line. Like, okay, this is how we'll do it. This is the definition of a movie that's just making it up as it goes along. It doesn't know what
because
it's
that's all. See, as long as it's flashy enough,
people are still watching.
People are watching it, boss. Uska turnover क्या है इस बार? Arnav, can you look up the stats of how much money this movie has made? ये जो अभी निकली है last Fast and Furious movie. Vele बैठा है, इसको कुछ तो करने दे.
But like, what was I going to say? So it doesn't have a plan exactly. They just throw it together, but they do it in a meaningful way because they understand how ridiculous these movies are. The people making them. And they know what the audience wants to see.
Action, right?
Yeah, you know, and their action scenes are pretty incredible. They're ridiculous, nowhere near realistic. But
so
like they're completely over the top.
Yeah, the last one,
worldwide, close to $250 million.
Bus.
And the budget must be more than that.
No, but it's COVID time also, right? Check the previous movie, Arnav. Not Hobbs and Shaw, the other one.
The Fast and Furious 8, basically.
8.
1.2 billion.
There you go.
Exactly.
This is COVID, so yeah, like Kevin said, we don't know how these numbers will be impacted. But after that I was like, 7 because spoilers for anyone listening, just shut it off for 10 seconds because I'll just say quickly. Starting now. So they refer to Paul Walker at the end. And he comes, they say we're missing one person in our family. And then he comes, they usually see Paul Walker's car pull up, but Paul Walker obviously, bichara, is passed away, so you cannot do anything. So
that's a bad joke. Then why would they say that?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I like how they ended Fast and Furious 7 on Paul Walker. I thought it's a perfect ending. But then you keep referring to him, and then in Fast and Furious 8 they named their son after Paul Walker's character. Vin Diesel named his son. And then at the end, they always refer back to Paul Walker. But I feel like now, we should just get away from it. It's nice, but it feels somehow you're trying to make...
You think it's a bit too forced at this point?
Forced sympathy, probably?
No, but I think unka jo core fan base hai, unke liye that means a lot.
Maybe, yeah. I might be completely out of
Yeah.
like my order saying this, but
I remember in theater I saw people like crying
no,
because
it was a
they had that song playing as well,
Yep.
right?
See You Again.
The Wiz
हाँ Wiz
Khalifa.
Khalifa और वो piano वाला गाना.
See You Again. I mean, it was a good ending. It was very. I'm glad they didn't just like kill him off or anything. They did it properly like that. But I thought that was like a perfect time to. But I also, when I looked up online, there's this YouTube channel called Corridor Crew. They showed the VFX on how Paul Walker's actually how most of his face in that movie has been CGI'd. So it's shocking to see how good the CGI is because you don't realize it when watching it. But there's a lot of scenes, like a huge load that they've CGI'd his face on his brothers because his brothers had to fill in.
Akash, I would love to put your face on like just to annoy you. If I was good at CGI, I would just
Kevin,
put
there's
your
a
face on
app
like
called Reface.
Pamela Anderson.
Yeah,
or
you
I
something.
thought he was going to say I would like to pay tribute to you like Paul Walker, and I was like, wow, Kevin, that's very dark. ऐसे मत बोला, काश तो जवान है अभी. But can we not discuss Fast and Furious anymore?
Yes, now we'll move on from that.
Oh, I watched Family Man.
पूरी खत्म कर दी है. मैं चौथे एपिसोड पे पहुंचा हूँ.
I say we save that for another episode because you
But
guys
please
can talk
watch Family Man because Manoj Bajpayee is a national treasure.
Yeah, save it when you guys complete the season. How many episodes are in a season?
9.
मैंने 4 देखे. Reached halfway.
Arnav, what about you?
I finished it last night.
Kevin, you've not finished it, no?
I finished it.
Oh, okay.
Akash, you are the only one.
My family also wants to watch it, so I'm going to watch it with them. Actually.
Yeah, watch it with your family. पक्का family show है ये. पक्का उनके साथ ही देखियो.
A friend told me.
Please don't watch.
A friend told me.
पाताल लोक मत देखियो.
Which was the other one? Patal Lok mat dekhna.
Kevin, you're the only guy who decided to watch it with his dad, okay? I would not go anywhere around my family with the show.
That movie was a little awkward in the
this
middle.
Is like अभी यहाँ पे एक मूवी आई ना सोशल मैसेज वाली ग्रेट इंडियन किचन करके अभी वो आई है प्राइम वीडियो में. तो मेरे माँ बाप कह रहे थे सब मिलके फैमिली देखे. मैंने कहा देखो मैं तो नहीं होगा इस कमरे में जब आप लोग वो मूवी देखे.
No, I watched it with my family only. It was pretty sad.
Kevin, you have a far more progressive setting. मेरे घर में अभी भी कुछ चीजें हम सब एक साथ नहीं देखते.
I did not know. I do not read
You should.
about the
That's why. That's the advantage of always looking up.
I had no idea what I was expecting. Great Indian Kitchen. I was thinking like it would be like some form of like cooking video and like cooking.
Great Indian Kitchen. I saw with my wife and her dad. ठीक है. And at the end of it, पहले 15-20 मिनट के अंदर से I was like sweating like I have done something wrong, but I knew I didn't. But still, so yeah.
If I heard the title alone of that, I would also think it's a cooking show.
Yeah, मुझे कोई भरोसा नहीं
है क्या है because I've never heard about.
नहीं भाई बहुत social issues के ऊपर है. women का treatment in the household के ऊपर है. अच्छी मूवी है, बहुत अच्छी मूवी है. मूवी में कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, but like I said.
And I'm actually really glad, and I was really glad that it came. It was a big scale, kind of a big scale movie.
It was never
made in Kerala.
It was not just that. It was released not on any It was released on a locally made OTT platform. It did not come out on Prime, Netflix or anything. अब जाके Prime ने rights ले लिए उसके.
Okay.
पहले it was
came on Asianet on TV.
नहीं TV पे भी नहीं. It was just an online release with one of Kerala's finest actors. You had to pay $2 या something या 100 रुपए में you could rent the movie for 4 hours. उन्होंने खुद की website बनाई थी Knee Streams करके. It was very interesting कि they were able to like produce and build an alternate movie like this. So with 2 top actors. Kerala के 2 top actors है वो दोनों right now. Nimisha Jain and Suraj Anyaramudu.
That's a good part.
So yeah. Great Indian Kitchen is a good movie, but don't watch it with your family, basically.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Vele podcast. As you may know already, this is the podcast where 4 friends gather around to talk about a variety of topics. I'm your host, Akash, and as usual, I'm joined by my friends, Kevin, Arnav, and Amrit. Today, we have a lot to talk about. A lot has been going on around the world. Let's start off with mental health in sport. So guys, we all if you guys didn't know, there was a tennis player. There is a tennis player.
Akash, the way you describe things is so casual. There was a tennis player.
There is a tennis player who I have to give a positive spin on it. Okay, we can't be a depressing podcast all the
Yeah,
time.
what you gave is not a positive spin. You said it in the most discarding way. हाँ यार एक लड़की थी टेनिस खेलती थी.
DD news types.
So she has been going through depression, and she basically refuses to do her right, actually, which she should, because she refuses to do press conferences after games due to the fact that she feels it affects her mental health on a level. And
Kalia is talking about Naomi Osaka.
Naomi Osaka, yes. Naomi Osaka, I forgot to mention the name.
So is she depression usko? Is it because मुझे पता नहीं इसका background क्या है? Is the depression because of all the media and ये सब?
Yeah, she says that she's a base introvert and वो public में आती है तो उसकी anxiety trigger होती है by the questions and large groups of people. She's an absolute loner who can only be outside if she is playing tennis.
I mean, you can notice it from her press conferences. Actually, if you see her past ones, you can see she's a bit uncomfortable. Her kind of facial expressions and all. Now you can see it probably because she's mentioned it, and now you're like looking out for that.
Yeah, judgment is colored a bit right now. No?
Yeah, so that's why I feel now probably because after she said that she feels. So my thing is, do you guys think that mental health in sports is quite overlooked? I mean, in NBA itself, Kyrie Irving took days off, and that was apparently for his own mental health. Everyone was saying, what's he doing? He should not be, he should just retire. He should blah, blah, speaking out against him. But some players came out for standing up for him, saying that, listen, he's not in the right head space right now. He has a right to take a break and put himself back together and come back. So do you think this mental health issues are like ignored in sports? I don't know about cricket though. I was just thinking, in cricket, do we have an example of that?
So the funny part is that mental health is ignored in general. Forget about sports, right? Industry to बहुत specific हो गया. In general, mental health is not a thing which people talk about. Sports में specifically people don't imagine, because even it's hard for me to imagine, because वहाँ पे people get to do what they love. They usually अपन जिनकी बात सुनते हैं, they have already very successful in their own professional career. Personally, obviously, things are very different for everyone, and I think that's where, as a fan base, it's hard for us to imagine कि अरे यार, you have fame, you have money, you have सब कुछ है, you're doing what you love, and still what can go wrong in your life, right? I think that's a false narrative, because we don't know about their personal life, उनकी journey क्या है, what all battles they are facing. So I think obviously it is ignored and it is perception, because वो एक celebrity status पे है. So how can a celebrity get depressed or jo bhi hai, right? So that's a very,
there's like a stigma from people outside looking in, that most of us probably feel that, but this person's rich, man, he's famous, why is he depressed? Or she depressed? This doesn't make sense. They have no reason, but we don't know they're going through.
Now what I realize is this problem seems like this is completely, मेरे पास कोई data नहीं है to justify or to prove, but I feel this problem is more prevalent in Western societies, and also आजकल इंडिया में भी ये सब आ रहा है, which is getting common. वहाँ पे जिनकी life सही चल रही है, right? People who don't have money, they don't have these kind of problems, ऐसा मुझे लगता है, because they have to figure out their food right now. They don't have time to get depressed, honestly. ऐसा मेरा मानना है. These problems come once your life is more comfortable. This is completely my narrative, so don't say, I'm not saying कि यही हर एक केस में होता है, but ऐसा मुझे लगता है कि it's actually more prevalent in people who are rich.
No, I think it's more obvious in people who are rich, because we can't say that it's financially inclined, because a lot of people who are in that situation are never probably in a situation to even identify कि उनके साथ क्या हो रहा है और वो करे. That does not mean that they are not depressed. They probably don't have an avenue to express it. I don't think क्योंकि,
and worst of all, they might not have the time to even
but it's still frustrations, anger, fury, and all the side effects of depressive personality can be seen in those people. It's just not termed as that. It is called कि बुरा time चल रहा है economically, is how I would perceive it, because
I mean clinical depression versus getting stressed or frustration is slightly different, right?
No, I'm definitely there. I'm saying different. Clinical depression आएगा उसी इंसान के साथ जिसको तुम clinically diagnose करोगे, right? And that I can agree that I can agree that it is something to do with financial status. But I also think that a lot of people, जैसे अभी हम ironically एक movie के बारे में बात कर रहे थे जो Great Indian Kitchen है, which is about that fundamental treatment of women. So जो तूने अभी पॉइंट बोला कि an empowered woman can feel that या मेरे साथ गलत हो रहा है, but and you can say अच्छा जो पुराने टाइम की लेडीज थी they would not say कि they are being उनको rights नहीं मिल रहे, opportunities नहीं मिल रहे, because they do not know anything else.
Yeah.
So if you don't know anything else does not mean it's not happening. It's just कि तुम उसका नाम नहीं डालते. अभी क्या है? Yes,
yeah, that's a fair point.
Yeah, दूसरों में self awareness ज्यादा है. So we can never, in my opinion, personally, we can never turn it into an economic thing simply because कि अमीर लोगों के पास avenue है diagnose करना और वो करना है. ऐसा नहीं है कि गरीब लोगों के साथ होता नहीं है. It's just they will never have an avenue to even express it or have it be said. They will suffer it because suffering is universal. Suffering हर इंसान अमीर गरीब हो तुम्हें लगे किसी भी तरीके से you're going to suffer. But I think that avenue for it is very different for rich people in this very specific case also.
Plus, for I think problems are not. I'm not saying that one person's problems are more important than the other. But for a garib insan, I mean, for a poor person, the existence is in question.
Yeah.
So I mean, they don't have the time or the.
They can't do anything about it.
Like,
they just can't.
The resources.
Exactly.
Yeah,
they
first of all,
literally
as
can't
Amrit
change.
said,
I mean, they can't even think
they
about
can't
it.
even figure it out कि है क्या.
They
right?
can't.
I mean,
वो change नहीं कर सकते ना. Like I have had this conversation with an uncle of mine who's 20 to 30 years elder to us, and he very specifically said, "मेरे साथ भी ये हुआ है, मेरा बड़ा गंदा था." But they would channel it into other things, like self-harm and other things. Maybe they are stopped because they have more familial responsibility. They are not as isolated in their community, maybe, but they channel it into other negative habits because you will find things जहाँ पे addictions build होते हैं. Alcoholism, drug addiction in the local village level में भी काफी high होता है. जितना भी हम बोले कि वहाँ पे चीजें आसान हैं, people do go in despondency आ जाती है. तो there are certain roots which are not labeled as depression. It's just called alcoholism. कि शराबी है वो. But उसके reasons क्या है, triggers क्या है? Life did not work out a certain way. You expected it to.
For them, don't you feel like celebrities like Naomi Osaka, Kyrie Irving, and everyone else who's faced these issues, for them it's more amplified, right? You would say, because being in the limelight or spotlight,
they're aware.
Where everyone wants to know about your life.
Self-awareness. See, knowledge does not mean understanding, right? And they are also young, regardless of we don't want to say they are young. 20-25-30 साल के लोग age के अंदर है ये सब, right?
Yeah.
So इनको understanding है कि I feel this way, but why am I feeling this way? And then उसके ऊपर obviously if you put a microscope on every feeling that you are going through at that level, it's going to be ridiculous. And also like remember जब वो social dilemma वाली वो क्या था documentary or whatever के उसमें बोलते ना कि our nerve impulses are not meant to gain this much stimuli. Like जो stimulus हमें मिल रहा है उसके लिए वो नहीं. Now these celebrities, like what did Naomi Osaka very specifically say? कि जब मैं इन लोगों के बीच में होती हूँ और मुझे हर तरफ से कोई सवाल पूछता है मुझे अजीब हो जाता है. कायरी अर्विंग का कंट्रोवर्सी बिगिन कहाँ होता है जब उसको पूछते थे प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस पे लोग and he said something about flat earth. Then he started talking about social issues and he just started becoming more and more defensive कि मैं कुछ भी बोल रहा हूँ तुम लोग मेरा मजाक उड़ाते हो online. So you know it gets amplified to a different level. That I think makes it much worse for them.
The flat earth thing was a little funny, but
for me as a consumer, it would be I don't care personal opinions to that extent.
But everyone has the right to express their
exactly.
opinions.
See, but that's the thing, right? You get when you're on that pedestal, you have to be very simply aware कि तुम कुछ भी बोल रहे हो. Consumers, बाकी majority of us are consumers. We are going to talk about it. We are going to discuss it.
There was one funny thing about Kyrie Irving. He did an Instagram live with Kevin Durant, where him and or Kevin Durant are talking, and he's like, in another life to Kevin Durant, I was you. Kevin Durant's like just looking at him like, what? He's like, yeah, I was you, man. We were doing things. It was amazing. He's like, what? You can see Kevin Durant just looking like puzzled. This thing just looking like this. That's also Kevin Durant's normal face.
If you look, he seems like the young woke sibling. Jo, like you do feel that he doesn't mean bad, but he'll say a lot of outlandish things, and you're not particularly sure why.
It seems. Definitely.
It's not even misunderstood. He's saying,
I feel
no,
from
he
the
means
media.
what he means. I consider it to an extent misinformed in my opinion. कि जिस तरीके से वो डिस्कस करता है ना, like it just seems like a very insecure person who has gone through बचपन की एज से has been in that limelight, and it's a terrible thing जब तुम्हारे फेस पे उतने cameras and everything. But after a point you cannot, तुम क्या कहते हैं, वो नहीं कहते, खुद आग में तेल डाल के तुम नहीं बोल सकते कि अच्छा यार ये पता नहीं इतनी इतनी पूरी बिल्डिंग जल गई. You're feeding the narrative. You can, after a while, not in the beginning, but now at least.
But I think another thing that's wrong is I think when we are not in the mood, you won't answer your call, or you'll say, I don't want to talk and I'm in a bad mood. But I think athletes don't get that option.
Yeah. Celebrities so Kevin choice
when they should have the
Kevin
right.
is leading up to my next
question. They should have the right.
Kevin, you did a good thing. So do you think these press conferences should go, or they should be optional? Because obviously
absolutely
these
should not go.
news channels pay money to get that time to get the one-on-one.
Yeah, I don't think any of these things should be changed because of किसी को अगर उसकी एंजाइटी है.
आकाश, अगर स्पोर्ट ब्रांड नहीं होता, अगर स्पोर्ट ब्रांड नहीं होता तो ये अगर वो no athlete
without
can
this
say
much publicity, the sport probably would not.
There would be no money. Boss, exactly. Advertising money runs this whole thing. You cannot go. French Open ka, I am completely against the way in which they dealt with it. But if you look at the counter argument, see, I will be pro mental health for anyone on any issue. But unka, if you look at administratively, Naomi Osaka said this 4 days before only. And she didn't make a comprehensive statement, and she said कि मैं नहीं आऊंगी. उसके ऊपर
she requested them. She said, I don't want to.
I don't want to. मुझे ये नहीं करने हैं, मुझे इसमें part नहीं होना. And secondly, you have to understand, टेनिस जैसे स्पोर्ट और किसी भी मेजर स्पोर्ट में जब वो एथलीट खड़ा है वहां पे पीछे सारे मेन स्पॉन्सर्स के नाम लिखे हैं, इनको बना दे. राफेल नडाल ने क्या बोला था जब उससे पूछा गया था? He said, I know, I understand what she's saying, and वो uncomfortable है, and he has been facing this for much longer. उसने क्या बोला था? फॉर मी वेरी स्पेसिफिकली, अगर हमें इनका सपोर्ट यार इन्होंने हमें ऐसे आइकॉन्स नहीं बनाया होता तो देयर इज अ वेरी लेस चांस कि वी वुड हैव बीन एज सक्सेसफुल एज वी आर नाउ. बट लाइक मीडिया हैज एम्पलीफाइड अस इन अ ह्यूज वे, एंड ओसाका इज वन ऑफ द फ्यू एथलीट्स हु आर बिलव्ड. उसके अगेंस्ट कवरेज नेगेटिव बहुत कम है. शी इज कंसिडर्ड टू बी क्वाइट वो. तो दैट्स अ काउंटर आर्गुमेंट. ऑब्वियसली स्टिल डज नॉट मीन कि अगर उसको मेंटल हेल्थ इश्यूज आ रहे हैं then it should not be given precedence. Absolutely, it should be given precedence. But there is also a counter argument of like, aapka issue and for the bigger king ka kya issue hai? How does it work? And I think her decision to step out of it, I guess, then that's the best thing for her. She doesn't need the tournament, and the tournaments will be forced because she's the number one thing now. She's the number one athlete in the sport, female tennis mein.
Yep.
So there has to be some arrangement has to be made one way or the other.
So यहाँ पे जैसे US में at least in tech industry में there's a mental health day. End of the day, it's a workplace, right? If you think about it, yeah, they are celebrities, but ये उनका job है.
That's their work,
right? So हमारे इसमें भी आजकल tech industry में we get these mental health days जहाँ पे whoever wants to take, they can take it. It's only like few every year. It's not like we have like 10 days. And mental health is a very long-term problem. It doesn't change overnight. So at least people are now recognizing that people need some days off for mental health. Maybe they just want to go in a mountain and chill वहाँ पे. That can be counted as that. You don't have to do something. तुम्हें डॉक्टर के पास जाने के लिए छुट्टी लेने की जरूरत नहीं है. You can just go and refresh. कहीं भी जा सकते हो तुम, right? So I think, as Amrit said, there has to be certain arrangement because end of the day, even she has to understand that it's a workplace.
Contractual obligation hai. She has signed it in.
So either she has to learn to deal with it. She might take some time, but for that she needs to have the resources available at her hand, which she has obviously. At the same time, उसको time मिलना चाहिए. ये नहीं कि अरे यार कि just because attend नहीं किया, they are going to boycott. Like media should boycott her or जो भी है.
And that's the thing. Tennis is such an insulated sport. Let's look at it very more specifically. इतने कम एथलीट्स है जो इनके स्पोर्ट में फेमस होते हैं और अमीर करते हैं. शी इज वन ऑफ दोस एथलीट्स नाउ हु हैज बिकम एंड क्रॉस्ड ओवर. शी इज द नेक्स्ट ग्रेट फीमेल स्टार. यार तुम जितने भी बोलो लास्ट 20 इयर्स के फेमस फीमेल टेनिस प्लेयर्स यू कैन प्रोबब्ली काउंट ऑन योर हैंड, एंड उसमें शी इज द नेक्स्ट जनरेशन. एंड सो दैट्स द थिंग. दैट्स व्हाई अ लॉट ऑफ द कवरेज इफ यू थिंक अबाउट नाओमी ओसाका हैज बीन सुपर पॉजिटिव. Does not mean it does not affect her. I don't want to come off saying that. My thing is, both sides have to reach an agreement because at the end of the day, this is a job. It's not a particular wo ki koi zyada favor. She is well compensated for being in this position too.
Imagine
it has
अपन
to be
ऑफिस
looked
में
at
है,
from both sides.
अपने को प्रेजेंट करना है, अपन बोलते हैं अरे we get anxiety so we cannot present something. That's not an option for anyone. We still have
No,
to go
and
and
for
stand
an
and we still
athlete
deliver.
too, if something was wrong with her forehand or like there was something wrong with her serve, she would hire a professional and actively work on coming up to the next tournament, right? Same way mental health, as we in this day and age we know it's an actual disease that inhibits hormonal flow, mood swings, and can have extreme effects on a person's day-to-day life. So same way there has to be some arrangement of, I'm assuming she may already be getting help or maybe getting into help. There has to be a proper process that has to be worked towards, because I honestly, from a wide perspective, cannot blame. Probably the organizers should not have been that blunt कि $50,000 का फाइन डालेंगे फिर वो करेंगे. बट आई गेट इट, हमारी मेन फीमेल स्टार कह रही है कि मैं इंटरव्यू और प्रेस के सामने नहीं आऊंगी. तो देन एड रेवेन्यू जो लूज हो रहा है कंपटीशन के लिए, which is the reason why all the smaller players get that money, is ridiculous. So
इसमें कोई गलत साइड नहीं है, just like how you deal with it end of the day.
it's the reaction. I get it, the reaction.
Give us some time.
But I'm
Hopefully
glad
that
that at
changes.
least people are speaking about
आकाश,
it.
Yeah.
तुम्हारा विंबलडन आ रहा है ना अभी? नहीं, कुछ हम
Yeah.
नाओमी ओसाका का बात कर रहे हैं यार. वेदा कृष्णमूर्ति, इंडिया की विमेंस क्रिकेट टीम की मेंबर, शी लॉस्ट हर मदर एंड हर सिस्टर ड्यूरिंग कोरोना.
Sister, COVID, yeah.
And she was talking about mental health and mental illness, and she got a very small thing. जबकि हम इंडिया में ही नाओमी ओसाका के ऊपर पूरे अखबार में छापे हुए पेज थे कि उसका ये हुआ, सब ओपिनियन पीस लिख रहे. जब एन इंडियन क्रिकेटर इज टॉकिंग अबाउट यार कितना मुश्किल है, एंड शी इज सिटिंग इन अ कैंप राइट नाउ, वेदा कृष्णमूर्ति, एंड शी इज लाइक आई अंडरस्टैंड कि मेंटल इलनेस से कैसे डील करना है, बिकॉज एवरी टाइम शी इज गोइंग थ्रू प्रॉपर PTSD openly, and she got this big an article talking about both. But I'm very happy that somebody like Naomi Osaka has pushed open that discussion, and I hope more athletes are able to, like जब विराट कोहली ने जो किया था maternal leave जब उसने ली थी, I think that was a very
Paternity.
pro step. Paternity leave, oh yeah,
Maternity is from mother.
paternity leave जब ली थी, that was quite good too. It sets a positive work. I don't want my partner to go through that physical and mental agony on her own. I'm ready to step away. And I think that's a huge thing that we are seeing right now. I think Ben Stokes ने किया था बीच में, मिचेल स्टार्क ने किया था सीरीज के स्टार्टिंग में ड्यू टू फैमिली इश्यूज, रविचंद्र अश्विन ने किया था IPL से. I think it's a good. There are local examples also where people are.
Yeah, but I mean, it's you can look at it two ways, because I don't think like a lot of people do get that leeway. Like I know a lot of family members who are outside and they couldn't do that either.
No, Kevin.
But also you cannot also forget the number of cricketers who actually had to, like, they were like, you know what, I am representing the country, so I might have to just like, for example, Dhoni, what did he say? He played the game, immediately left, and like, I mean, there are people who
it's the option, no, Kevin.
Also.
It's the thing that matters is that the option should be there. कि जो तू बोल रहा है,
you can't force someone to do it.
जो तू बोल रहा है वो भी होना चाहिए, and जो वो decide कर रहा है वो भी होना चाहिए, right? कि मेरी choice है कि I want to go through.
Look at army. Look at our defense sector. I know tons of people in my family who have had to.
Who don't have that option. Absolutely.
But it's sadly that they didn't get an option.
But Kevin, that's the point. Now we remunerate those services much less. Even though they may be far more integral to us, हम consumer और customer वाली चीजों को ज्यादा पैसे देते हैं, तो उनके पास ज्यादा opportunities है, so they get to make that choice. But that's like a society issue, right? So that's a different thing altogether.
Because like the Virat Kohli incident, I agree. Okay, giving the choice, but I didn't consider it that important, to be honest, because
it is important in regard that people are.
Kevin is very important because what he represents in India, it's ridiculously huge. किसी को पसंद आए ना आए, विराट कोहली single-handedly इतना power masculine figure stepping away in a thing like that, जिसमें traditionally childbirth is thrown on women as a sole responsibility. कि उनको वो करना है.
No, it is good in a way because BCCI is also a very controlling organization.
Yeah, they won't say no to him, Kevin.
No one can say no to, because now these players have reached a status जहाँ पे BCCI cannot govern उनके life decisions.
And BCCI का president तो players ही तो है.
Do you think? I mean, I'm pretty sure Dhoni and Dhoni and I think it was Dravid. I think.
No, but that's their choice, right? It's up to them how.
Kevin,
No. Let me complete. Do you think they also they were not forced either? They chose to.
Exactly.
Why?
That's their choice. Yeah.
That's a very simple thing. No? There's a why part of it also.
I mean, it can also be played in a very selfish card also. Like people can.
No, people
the
will play
selfish
it, but
card
it's
also if they want.
absolutely because Virat Kohli has done a very inspirational thing, because in a country like India where it is a completely maternal thing, that's the difference. The same thing ना, Dravid और धोनी को अगर हम 10 years fast forward करें और बोले कि अगर आप इस एज उनके टाइम में I'm pretty sure they would not even think it's an option for me to go back. कि मेरे पास वो है विराट कोहली and those
So it's a cultural shift, right? Now if
exactly,
you think even
it's a
Virat
cultural
Kohli,
shift.
Virat Kohli के
Dravid
बाद
और उनके
Jasprit
टाइम में थे
Bumrah,
नहीं.
he took a off for his wedding
Hmm.
from a very important series. People can always argue कि यार शादी तुम push कर सकते हो, right? It's not like a childbirth. But now they're setting a culture जहाँ पे यार अपने personal life has to be given
put yourself
priority.
first.
Yeah.
And then
Because
again that I don't agree. I agree with that partially as well, and not completely as well, because two things. You just said that in tennis she's getting paid a hell lot of money to represent, so she should also attend at some point. But that same thing that follows with cricketers.
No.
Cricketers
I said if beforehand they should make an arrangement before signing the contract. That's what Bumrah and everyone did, right? उन्होंने पहले 1-1.5 महीने पहले से बोल दिया था कि इस सीरीज में मैं आने नहीं वाला, मैं होने वाला. मेरा
it's like taking a vacation. Simple.
Yeah, ओसाका के साथ मेरा इशू ये था कि only issue was कि like it was declared like 4 days before the tournament began कि मुझे नहीं करना. And she like said it in a conference only in a very low voice कि actually मुझे पसंद नहीं आता मैं जब यहाँ बैठी हूँ. And I get it, when you are in that state तुम probably express नहीं कर सकते, but you have already signed and agreed to the whole thing. बुमराह का हमें 2 महीने पहले पता था कि वो आने नहीं वाला. कोहली ने पहले बोल दिया था कि पहले टेस्ट मैच के बाद आई एम नॉट देयर, मेरी वाइफ की ड्यू डेट आ चुकी है. दैट्स व्हाई आई सेड कल्चरल वॉर. फिर तुमने धोनी और उसका एग्जांपल दिया, दे वर इन अ टाइम जब इंडिया में ऐसा होता ही नहीं था. पीपल डू नॉट इवन अंडरस्टैंड कि औरतों को के सिवाय मर्दों का क्या रोल होता है इसमें. व्हाई शुड द मैन इवन बी देयर इन द फर्स्ट प्लेस? Like it's a very common thing that is practiced around India. That's why it's a huge thing, because somebody has to gently move the culture in the other way.
And people like cricketers in India, they can move a lot of things. I mean, the amount of fan following, amount of power they have, it's immense. So I think they should take this.
Their reach is a lot.
They are the only things which stand as some sort of like unifying pillars in many ways.
And they are much better than in terms of.
Regardless of culture,
Bollywood and cricket have a lot of reach in India.
Yeah.
For Bollywood, people will still question कि यार उनकी lifestyle खराब है, ये खराब है. But for cricketers, no one can even question them. They are like gods वहाँ पे. So that's the good part in a way.
Very rarely do we have
which is bad also, but that is a whole.
It can be bad.
Kevin, everything is negative to you, Kevin. Keep quiet. Okay.
Kevin, we're a positive podcast. Okay.
Yeah, Kevin. तो कुछ भी बोलो तो उसके बीच में आ जाएगा, पता है guys.
That's coming from Amrit.
Such was most morbid.
No,
One of the most morbid.
Kevin, I am morbid with you guys off camera, not when जब दूसरे लोगों को मैं हमेशा positive बोलता हूँ. To you guys मैं सिर्फ negative बोलता हूँ.
Moving on to more positive news or funny news, if you want to say. Let's talk about the Juhi Chawla 5G case.
Why?
Now, one thing I want to ask. Was this a publicity stunt? Straight off the bat, I will ask.
पहले बता तो दे क्या
for those people who don't know, Juhi Chawla has registered a case against the use of 5G
had
technology.
registered a case.
Had registered a case, correction now, against the use of 5G technology in India, as it was damaging the environment. She said it was damaging the environment, and until we can find a more 5G, the use of 5G in a way that won't harm the environment, we should not use it, which is a very noble thing. It's true, it does. I think there's some statistics of it damaging bird life and everything like that, but
avian life के ऊपर certain वो भाई, you can find 5 articles in favor and 5 articles against it.
Yeah, that's also there.
The problem with the Juhi Chawla thing is not that. It just felt like somebody who has read the news for the first time, 3 article पढ़ लिए and was like, मैं public में जाके भाई 20 लाख का fine लगाया कोर्ट ने. Do you know what happened? Why fine लगाया? She went इन्होंने कोर्ट में गए and in the court she said कि honestly मुझे exactly petition में exactly क्या क्या लिखा है पता नहीं है, but मुझे पता है कि कुछ तो गलत हो रहा है. And then she live tweeted the link on Instagram पे she put it on Instagram and one of her fans came in the middle of the court session and was singing Juhi Chawla के गाने. तो 20 लाख का फाइन लगाया कोर्ट ने कि देखो तुम हमारे ऐसे टाइम पास नहीं कर सकते.
It was a waste of time, seriously. I mean, you're trying to get into something just because some
But it's also
socialite category में आते हो, you're just trying to.
No, Arnav, that's the sad thing. If it was just, I don't think it was publicity stunt. It was literally like there is a new breed of Indians जो जिन्होंने बहुत रिसेंटली आई थिंक इंडिया की न्यूज सारी डिस्कवर करी और पता लग रहा है कि 5G से सारे बर्ड्स मर जाएंगे, अरे और सब कुछ बर्बाद हो जाएगा हमेशा के लिए. एंड शी सेड इट, शी इज ऑन कोर्ट रिकॉर्ड सेइंग कि शी डज नॉट नो द एग्जैक्ट प्रोविजंस ऑफ हर ओन अपील. उसको कंप्लीटली श्योर नहीं है अबाउट ऑल द पैराग्राफ्स. हु सेज दैट? Like you could just see like it's, and then she puts it on Instagram. So
The
I just
link,
feel like this is someone
a court
deluded
link
beyond all.
where
She put the
people can
quote ka
join.
link.
नहीं,
And
first
they
of all
started
उसने link
singing
post
Juhi.
किया. That's
Oh
BS.
my
Secondly,
god.
उनको पता है कि कोर्ट का अगर लिंक है तो it should be locked. I don't get it. How can people जो भी वो organize करता है these
By
things,
the fact that they have a link itself is a big thing. अब वो lock नहीं है वो तो बहुत दूर की बात है.
can I ask one more thing?
Link itself is
Do
a
you
thing.
like is it like how do these cases get chosen?
This was a
Like, you
PIL,
know,
Kevin. This was a public.
I have a rough
This was a
estimate.
public interest litigation. So they go directly upwards. तो वो ऊपर की तरफ जाते हैं कि क्योंकि हम this is something we are bringing to the attention of the court because ये urgent issue है जिससे public को वो होगा. This was a very noble thing which began in the 70s which has now turned into this now कि लोग
अपन भी
ऐसी
कर सकते
चीजों
हैं
पे
वो.
PIL
It's
करते हैं.
not just for
कल-
celebrity.
Yeah.
Anyone
कल
can
तू
do it.
कुछ tomorrow you see something wrong in rural Rajasthan, you can go and say a PIL saying कि I have noticed this horrible thing because it was started by a woman जो एक different state में बैठी थी and she saw under trials in Bihar जिनको 1 साल के केस के लिए 10 साल के लिए अंडर ट्रायल में रखा जा रहा था. So she invented it and she उनकी उस नोबल औरत की चीज को आज this has been what it has turned into.
But Kevin, don't file a PIL फिर जयपुर में गर्मी बहुत है. उसके लिए PIL नहीं बना.
But then imagine here because the fact that she said that कि मुझे exactly पता नहीं क्या लिखा है इस रिपोर्ट में,
So
but I
dumb.
feel something bad is happening. Why? I thought Juhi Chawla was some IPL की owner or something with.
Yeah, KKR.
नहीं नहीं.
One
That's the last I remember of her.
You know, funny part is मैंने कहीं देखा कि first of all, it is definitely to answer Akash तेरा question. It is for publicity. किस चीज की publicity?
Yep.
That's an air. तब मुझे नहीं पता किस चीज की publicity कर रही थी वो बंदी.
Yeah, is she in a movie? I don't know.
No,
No
I don't
idea.
think so.
Only thing which I could figure out is the World Environment Day आज है, कल था रे, June 5th,
Yeah.
I think. And
Fifth.
maybe because
They
of
said
that.
for that. A lot of people said it's for that.
But she was a bad actress.
No,
right?
she was a decent
No.
actress, Kevin. She
Yeah,
and Madhuri
Kevin,
Dixit
I
at
don't
her
think
time were big.
I don't think that was the problem. Like,
नहीं, even Amir Khan does it, it's still funny. चाहे कितना भी अच्छा actor हो कोई, it doesn't
No,
matter
yeah,
उनका
it doesn't
profession
matter.
क्या है. This is
Shah
just a
Rukh Khan did
weird
this
thing.
with me making fun of him as well. If
see,
anyone
if you're ignorant, it is fine. If अगर तुम suddenly emotional okay, you have a big opinion, it's one thing. At least stick to it ना. Don't say कि my lord, I'm not particularly sure कि मेरी appeal में क्या लिखा हुआ है. Don't say that. At least have the guts to be like, हाँ, I am very emotional right now. मैंने इस issue के बारे में recently पढ़ा है. Okay, but I still feel strongly about it. Who says in the middle of court कि actually 2-3 paragraph के beyond मुझे idea नहीं है कि क्या लिखा है इसमें.
the amount of
But-
articles that came out when the case was filed that Juhi Chawla is doing the right thing, she's fighting for the environment, and then the case happens, and then you see what rubbish is going on. You're like,
20 लाख का फाइन लगाया उस पे. 20 लाख का फाइन.
उसके हस्बैंड की बहुत बड़ी प्लास्टिक की कंपनी है. वर्ल्ड
अच्छा.
एनवायरनमेंट के लिए करने जा रही है बहुत कुछ.
What?
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
is
didn't
it?
know
I didn't know that.
Okay, now this is like really bad now on her part. She should just have kept her mouth
नहीं, but
shut.
अगर उसके
and not
वरना
done
ये 20
anything.
लाख का फाइन कैसे
Hey.
देते अगर प्लास्टिक की कंपनी के बेच देंगे
Maybe
तो?
she got what she wanted, babe. She wanted
I
to be in the public. If that
उसके
was she
उसका
was
हस्बैंड
aiming
इज अ
for.
बिग टाइम इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट है इंडिया में.
I don't know.
See,
I don't know what Mr. Chawla does.
Remember,
Yeah, I don't think it's Mr.
I-
Chawla.
You really
I
think
remember
जूही चावला अपने बॉलीवुड पैसे से आईपीएल टीम खरीद पाती है?
I thought all these Bollywood people were very rich, right?
Yeah, they
No,
are
but
very-
she's also producing movies and
But-
everything. No?
I mean,
I don't know how much money.
Akash
But
rate
that-
क्या था IPL teams का and why didn't you buy a team?
मेरा मन नहीं था यार. I thought one season के लिए मजा आएगा and then bored हो जाऊंगा मैं. T20 is coming to UAE.
UAE. I
Nice.
hate it, but yeah.
Nice. But what else would you do?
What is your favorite Juhi Chawla movie? Because when they said that they were singing her songs, I could not think of a movie with her in it. Even though I've seen her a lot. I'm not saying that she's an unknown actress at all.
Yes, boss.
मुझे-
You like that.
Yeah, she had
Yes,
such a
boss.
nice girl next door vibe. I never thought ये ऐसी चीजें करेंगे.
You never think a lot of things that people will do.
I just
They do
remember,
it.
I just like from my personal experience, I did correct someone. Like he took essentially someone I know took finished drinking a soda and just threw the bottle on the floor. So it's like, you know what? We just had like 5 minutes before this. We talked about the environment and all this crap, and this is the next thing
Kevin,
you do.
the people,
You got to be
the
kidding
hypocrisy
me.
is
So then
ridiculous.
Happens
I
everywhere.
picked it up and I was like,
Kevin,
I'll
the
throw it
hypocrisy
in
is
the
ridiculous.
right
अभी
place.
half the people जिनसे मैं अभी क्या हुआ ना recently, I will not mention a party affiliation or anything. So somebody I know who votes for a certain party, इलेक्शंस के पहले ना बहुत आके घर पे और हमारे अराउंड हमारे एरिया में रहता है, बहुत डिस्कस करता है इलेक्शंस, लाइक बहुत जोश से डिस्कस करता है इलेक्शंस, एंड इज वेरी ओपिनियनेटेड, एंड उसको है कि मैं तुम्हें बताऊंगा कि व्हाई योर वेज आर रॉन्ग, यू हैव टू डू इट दिस वे, बहुत इमोशनल होता है वो. तो जब इलेक्शन आए ना तो लाइक इलेक्शन से लाइक एक दिन पहले व्हेन वी मेट और समथिंग, तो वी आई आस्क्ड कि तुम्हारा बूथ वगैरह कहाँ पड़ा है, इज लाइक मैं थोड़ा ना जा रहा हूँ इलेक्शन के लिए. मैंने कहा क्यों? कहता मेरे पास तो इलेक्शन कार्ड ही नहीं है. बंदा उसके इलेक्शन कार्ड नहीं, 8 महीने से ही हैज बीन डिस्कसिंग इलेक्शंस विद मी. लेकिन और हमारे यहाँ रहता है यार ही इज ट्राइंग टू चेंज एवरीवनस माइंड हियर, वो खुद नहीं वोट कर रहा. वो वाली बात होगी, वो यहीं पे रहता है. लाइक आई वाज जस्ट लाइक वाह भाई,
ओपिनियंस देना ये सब बहुत आसान है, राइट? एक्चुअल एक्शन लेना इज अ डिफरेंट थिंग.
ही वाज लाइक मैं जाके लाइन में नहीं खड़ा हो रहा, तू पागल हो गया इसके बीच में. नो एंड भाई आकाश, मैंने अभी बोला ना मैं जाके लाइन में पागल हो गया, उसने लिटरली उसी टोन उससे 10 गुना ज्यादा लाइक उसने पागल हो गया.
अरे at the same time I know some folks यहाँ पे जो US इंडिया से US में आए थे recently, so they're still Indian citizens, they fly every year just to vote, just to voting के time, at the same time vote. ऐसे लोग भी हैं, so which is
भाई I know family members who have done that.
Yeah.
मेरे और हमारे तारा के एक रिलेटिव है, who very specifically has decided to renew his thing because he found out हम सब कैसे वोट करते हैं. तो उसने बोला तुम्हें काउंटर करने के लिए हमको भी जाके करना पड़ेगा. And I enjoy that. It's fine. It's more democracy. More people should vote. But yeah, I don't think you should fight over issues that you're not involved in. Like if Juhi Chawla is saying 5G and then she has plastic factory, she should not be speaking.
No, I don't know plastic factory है नहीं.
Arnav, you put yourself on the spot now. You've said it. It's law now. She owns a plastic factory. It's done.
I never said factory, but yeah, they have something to do with plastic. One of the businesses is plastic related. उनके husband का.
अबे cement है, cement and food.
Abhi, then it's fine. What plastic?
No, they have a huge businesses all around the world. They are not some small.
And well, he owns KKR also, तो उसमें बहुत plastic है.
But बहुत plastic है उसमें.
But I just
what?
I just realized, no, but like I think from my experience, what annoyed me was the thing that the person said after that. अरे ये तो कोई तो कल सुबह आके कोई ना कोई उठाएगा. I was like, that is even worse. Even worse. I'm like, you shouldn't be talking about environment at all. You don't.
Yeah, because तुम्हें कोई भी.
This is like a 24, 25-year-old.
No, Kevin, it's a very simple thing, right?
Though, Kevin. It happens here.
You can have as much opinion about anything. अगर तुम अपनी life में 1% of it even transform या use नहीं करते, then it just after a certain age. See, if I was in college or something, I would still find it funny. As we get older, 28, 29, 30, and we go towards the next phase of our life, it just feels very silly. Because after that, I cannot talk to that guy about those issues at all. Like मेरे का जब तक तू नया election card नहीं बनाता, एक और बार मेरे सामने आए ना तू ऐसी बकवास.
As you should. You're talking about, you're giving opinions on this so strong, trying to convince people you're not voting yourself.
He doesn't have a card. He said he didn't register. मैं लाइन में नहीं खड़ा होना चाहता, इतनी गर्मी होती है, मेरा मन नहीं करा.
Just to clarify, मैंने अभी चेक किया कि उनकी जो प्लास्टिक पैकेजिंग कंपनी है, one of the unit is पैकेजिंग का है.
We would like to sincerely apologize to Miss Chawla. Thanks to Arnav. We made a lot of jokes.
Please send all your court cases to Arnav, who currently lives.
I still don't agree. जो उन्होंने businesses देखे ना, वो they are not some environmental friendly businesses जो इतना
क्यों cement industry
it's one of the worst. Yes,
और KKR तो, और do you think KKR does pollution? They're just a waste of a team, nothing else.
There are a lot of other IPL teams that haven't won. I hate to throw Punjab in there as well,
Akash, isn't KKR?
but KKR has won twice, I think.
Isn't
if I'm
it
not wrong.
isn't it unfair that Delhi lost? The IPL had to go the year Delhi was playing the best. I think it's very unfair. Or an
No,
RCB
the
also, I guess.
IPL is continuing in September. I thought they announced, right? I have no idea what they're going to do. Let's see. But
Ganguly
मुझे
भाई
याद
साहब
नहीं आ
They're
रहा.
बकवास
not
कर रहे हैं.
cancelling
Hey, who
IPL.
was winning? Were we? Delhi जीत रही थी ना?
Delhi and Mumbai were at the top.
Delhi
if
and
I'm not
Mumbai,
wrong.
I think, and Chennai.
I think-
These were top three.
भाई
Chennai
कुछ
was
भी
top.
हो, at the end of the day, अंबानी का ही टीम जीतेगी.
अबे अंबानी का लीग है. What do you say? नहीं. But let's move on.
By the way,
More sports
KKR जीत
topics.
चुकी है 2 या 3 बार, which is
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't
Punjab
Rajasthan
has-
also win?
first
Yeah,
most
Rajasthan won
शुरुआत
Rajasthan.
में?
first.
And Deccan
Yeah,
Chargers.
but at that time,
और-
Ambani didn't have.
Deccan Chargers
wasn't
won?
that big,
Kevin-
as big as what
Kev-
he is today.
Oh, Kevin 2010 में वो नहीं था. वो Reliance में था. Kevin, तो क्या बोल रहा है? Now you're trying to fit it
नहीं,
into
but-
your conspiracy
no,
theory.
I mean, today is what, seventh? Today is seventh. At that time, he was like on like today he's a lot
वो तब
more.
वो
in
गरीब
terms of
था.
even
पागल हो गया.
the whole world knows him now.
Yeah,
I
but he
mean,
was still
India में
rich.
he still maybe
वो
the biggest
अंबानी-
in India.
अबे 2008-9 में मेरे माँ बाप मुझसे बोलते थे जब 500 रुपए मांगता था हमें अंबानी समझ रखा है.
Reliance has been going धीरूभाई के टाइम चलता आ रहा है यार. Reliance has always been one of the biggest.
Yeah, but they were not into like cricket and all.
They
those
bought.
things,
They're
no?
one of
They
the
were
first
not all
purchases
that.
of Mumbai Indians.
They were
Was
the first ones to purchase Mumbai.
yeah, they had the highest bid.
They had
the highest bid. They
out of
outbid
all the
everyone.
IPL teams.
400-500 करोड़. तब लोग बोल रहे थे my God इतने कहाँ से आए? मुझे तो पता.
I'm sure Bombay would be. I'm sure Bombay would have been like a high demand.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Please,
High,
Punjab
and
would
they
have been
got
more
it.
expensive.
They outbid everyone. So they outbid the entire
Preeti Zinta
country.
bought
बाहर से
Punjab.
लोग.
Okay, her pockets go very
Yeah.
deep.
So you can understand which team was वो.
Akash,
Again,
Akash, how deep does
again,
the pocket
kudos to
go?
Hey,
Preeti Zinta,
Kevin, do not make
but
it a perverted
I don't think she was
take.
the main partner उसमें.
No, she wasn't. She wasn't.
वो था ना वो नेस्वाडिया.
Akash, why are you saying her pockets go deep?
I
Akash?
meant money-wise, Kevin. Okay, stop making it.
Okay, Kevin, you are the only one who thought. और अगले टॉपिक पे जाए इससे पहले ये
So
both of these
let's
guys will get us
return.
sued.
Since we're already in the realm of sports, let's continue in that. We're going to have a quick talk about the Olympics before we go into sports updates because a lot of sports has been happening around
I don't
the
think
world.
any major sport updates are there.
Anyway, first Olympics. The Olympics will be starting next month on July 23rd, if I'm not wrong, in Japan.
Yes, Akash. तेरे birthday के दिन.
हम
Yes,
सब जीतेंगे.
and maybe someone else's birthday. We don't know. Oh, only Arnav knows. These guys don't. Arnav's baby to be will probably be due date is on July 23rd.
नहीं भाई उसका इस मनोज के साथ सेम बर्थडे पे मत डाल. इसकी जिंदगी देख 28 साल ऐसा है अभी अगले 30 साल are going to be much worse for him. बच्चे के साथ ऐसा मत कर. Some other day let us choose.
Anyway, back to the Olympics. So, do you guys think the Olympics will happen? Should it happen? And my last question
Nah.
I would ask, are the Olympics still relevant in today's?
Arnav, is there
Relation.
Kevin, is there a question you will say yes to? पहले तू बता.
Okay, Kevin.
कौन सा question?
Do you think the Olympics should happen? Let's start off with the first question.
I mean, I think they can just do it next year when things are a little better.
But next year you have,
Yes.
isn't the World
Third
Cup?
wave. Next year third wave है.
When's
for
the
our
Football World
audience,
Cup be?
I know it's a serious topic, but हम please हमारा podcast ऐसे ही चलता है, so don't.
Arnav is giving you a disclaimer. Basically, to the
We are
audience.
making fun of third wave now, so.
ऐसे टाइम आ गया है अर्णव ऐसे टाइम आ
No.
गया है।
Amrit, mute Amrit for a second. I think he's the one making it worse.
Okay, Kevin.
At least Akash is just
At least I
talking
didn't
about
put
Preeti Zinta's
I didn't
I
put
would
false
say you
plastic
answer.
allegations like Arnav. But yeah,
Okay.
Kevin बता ना तेरा super.
Let's start with
serious
Kevin. Kevin, do you think the Olympics happen? What should happen? You said no. Obviously,
But what about Euro then?
That is
exactly. Then
that
the
is
Euro should
starting
not happen
next
according
week.
to you.
अगले हफ्ते
Yeah,
start हो रहा है.
exactly. These guys are
I mean,
starting
see,
in next month.
See, if you think about it, I would say no sporting events should be like very high demand and like जहाँ पे लोग आने के chances बहुत high है या can cause crowd shouldn't happen since majority of the world is still dealing with COVID. But at the same time, if Euro can happen, then
without
Olympics
crowds, I
can
think
also
only
happen.
chess tournament
That's
will happen.
very simple logic.
Crowd के बिना तो सिर्फ chess वाले लोग और वो darts वाले लोग नहीं होते, वही खेलते होंगे. I don't know which other sport you will have.
So your
then.
question is about कि
golf needs
Olympic
silence
होना चाहिए
anyway.
because of COVID या नहीं?
Yes.
Yeah, no one is questioning if the Olympics.
I mean, there's no
itself-
I
other-
thought he's
there's
questioning
nothing else
Olympic क्यों हो रहा है?
But Akash, in terms
No
of
one is questioning
entertainment,
Olympic cure.
I do not
Yes.
think
Everyone's
No,
asking
because
whether
of-
COVID.
Akash, in terms of entertainment for people, I do not think कि Olympics अगर नहीं होगा तो people are going to be short of
so that's-
entertainment.
no, that's
अबे
what I'm-
just
then my-
because हमारे लोग उतने नहीं होते ये मतलब नहीं है. I always watch any sport जिसमें Indians है.
I was about
तो
to say.
तो boxing,
For me,
Olympics नहीं देखता
boxing,
क्या?
wrestling,
Olympics नहीं देखता है क्या? Look at him.
boxing, wrestling, the hockey teams, और और कोई sport बोलते हैं.
बस हो गया
Shooting,
तेरा.
shooting, archery,
Archery,
shooting, archery. 5 sport बोल दिए
भाई
मैंने.
बहुत
और
सारे
अभी
sports हैं. Okay.
अभी जो हमारे जो अरे मैं compete नहीं, जीतने के चांस की बात कर रहा हूँ. और वो
जीत.
ये नहीं.
Our viewers Arnav has put a 0 in जीतने की chance.
अबे आज पता है क्या हुआ? आज के अखबार में लास्ट स्पोर्ट्स पेज पे लिखा है कि रिले रेस की टीम मेंबर्स ने बोला इंडिया हैज अ हाई चांस ऑफ फिनिशिंग टॉप 5. मेरे पापा कहते हैं इसलिए कभी मेडल नहीं मिलता. ये टॉप 5 के लिए जा रहा है वहां पे.
Oh,
But-
man.
Oh my God.
It's pathetic.
What about
अपन
Olympics?
चार
What
जने
about shot put? I thought
I've never seen an Indian in
India's
shot
pretty
put.
good at shot put. No?
There was a guy Vikas Gowda. He's
I
in
don't
वो.
know.
जीते नहीं है कभी.
नहीं जीते
जीतने
but
नहीं. Only gold we
Yeah.
have. Only gold we have is Abhinav Bindra. जो and
shooting
Sindhu won silver, right?
Silver.
Last time.
silver.
But वो Carolina Marin जो जिसने हराया था, she is out of the Olympics. So badminton is a sport we're quite good at. To be honest, our best hopes are badminton, shooting, archery काफी high होंगे. Hockey में I am not particularly sure कि India का scene क्या है.
This wasn't
Boxing.
the predictions Olympics predictions episode.
No,
Okay.
Kevin questioned our
Kevin.
nationalism ना तो we would like-
Kevin said no. You guys also believe that
No, wait. I said
oh,
yes.
say you yes sorry
I said
Kevin
yes.
said yes.
If Euro's happening, then
Yes, correct.
I said
Sorry, Kevin.
if Euro and Copa America.
Yeah,
can happen,
apologize.
then
He will get
Olympics
angry
also.
now.
You
Say sorry.
you
बोलो
guys
उसको.
also agree that the Olympics should happen if these, like
Yes.
Kevin pointed out a great actual good point that if
The
these
only
sports can happen, why
negative of
can't
the Olympics happening right now, Akash, is that the people of Japan in opinion polls say they don't want Olympics to be held.
Yeah.
तो मुझे तो
just-
वहाँ पे I think COVID की situation is not that great जहाँ तक मैंने सुना है.
It's gotten worse. Tokyo
Yeah,
is under emergency
got worse.
lockdown.
Because
so,
of that reason, I'm saying no for that particular location. Otherwise, the Olympics should happen.
yeah, but they see again, it is impossible for any country to move the Olympics on short notice.
Because yeah, that's the problem. Olympic is even though अपन Euro से compare कर रहे हैं in
it's
terms
about
of
cultural.
yeah,
it's a cultural
not just कि आप एक
Going on
जगह
for
आ जाओ खेल लो. It doesn't happen like
So-
that.
No,
So I think-
Kevin's point is correct from COVID containment. But the only tournament Kevin's point does not apply to is Olympics because Olympics is about 10 साल से एक city prepares itself.
yeah.
And the amount of money that goes into investing and preparing. But the irony of this is the world's most tourist friendly and guest friendly country mein people
Japan.
themselves are saying mat karo, situation will get much worse.
But
And Japan is
also,
not vaccinated.
No, I'm not.
Unfortunately, Japan has.
If you have
Carry on. What were you saying?
sorry, I was going to say if you have invested since 10 years, you might as well do it next year.
I think
Hopefully
next
by
year
next year it should
next
be
year-
a little bit more taken
when is the
care of.
football World Cup? You know.
Next year.
Yeah, they don't want to compete with
2022,
that. I'm
yes,
pretty sure.
next year.
which makes sense.
नहीं that compete थोड़ा ना होता है उसमें अलग
No,
there are
there is
different
because
things, yeah,
viewership
on-
competition type of
same
thing.
time पे
So
तो
get affected.
wait same time पे होगा क्या नहीं ना
I mean, this Olympics take place in the summer. It depends. I can't remember when World Cup.
Yeah, I'm
World
pretty
Cup
sure
happens
it
in the
won't
summer.
happen
No,
at
World
the
Cup
same
will also
time
be in the
because it will be
summer.
disaster for
There,
Olympics.
and also
So-
then a lot of football players will not participate in the Olympics.
yeah, but their football is not
Football anyway is-
prime Olympic
yeah,
sport नहीं है
they'll
वो
go to-
The under
No, but
19
I-
to under
I
21
feel
teams
it will
are playing.
below
damage
23.
viewership in
Exactly.
some way. I feel.
See,
Yeah, if they're held at the
see,
same
Argentina
time
managed
And I
to
Same
win.
think they
time.
do normally.
So Argentina managed to win in Olympics for football. So it makes.
I think
So I'm pretty sure that it doesn't matter.
But I
think-
just checked. Trend is going down. So July में है ना Olympics?
July.
23rd
So I mean,
Olympics
if
wants the
it
whole year to
continues
them,
like this, then
basically.
there's a possibility कि हो भी जाए, but yeah, cases are still high वहाँ पे.
Yeah, because no, Tokyo में like वगैरह में emergency lockdown है. lot of the मेरे जो anime वाले लोग हैं सारे के सारे फंसे हुए हैं वहाँ पे, जो वहाँ पे tourism के नाम से गए थे. लोगों की वाट लगी पड़ी है बहुत तरीके से कि अब तो वहीं
Also,
पे.
point to note out, I read that Japan
What did you read,
cannot
Akash?
cancel the Olympics. They have no control in that. Only the
IOC
IOC can cancel because the contract they've signed, IOC has full control
Yeah,
on
see,
that.
तुम willfully नहीं कर सकते तो obviously, and they need to put up the show because उनके small businesses and everything. See, what is the point of an Olympics for any city, like in a country, is because कि tourism का इतना influx आता है,
Yep.
and जो तुम जो infrastructure बनाते हो during an Olympics is what is going to last for your country long term. Because it put, especially for smaller countries, तुम्हारे जो does not apply to Japan, but something that if Olympics happen in a different country like 8 में कहा था, बीजिंग में था, उससे पहले एथेंस में था, कंट्रीज जिनमें नॉर्मली इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर में उतना पैसा, एथेंस में था जिसमें उतना इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर इन्वेस्टमेंट नहीं होता, देयर इज अ ह्यूज इन्फ्लक्स कम्स इन. कॉमनवेल्थ गेम्स की वजह से चाहे पसंद हो या ना हो, दिल्ली जैसे शहर में बहुत सारे स्पोर्ट्स फैसिलिटीज बिल्ड हुए थे विच डू नॉट एग्जिस्ट बिफोर. बिकॉज द वन थिंग यूनिवर्सल अमंग ऑल ह्यूमंस इज कि जब मेहमान घर पे आ रहे हैं, वी हैव टू अपीयर सुपर हाई फाई. मतलब कुछ भी हो, इट हैज टू लाइक लुक वेरी गुड. तो बहुत पैसे खर्च होते हैं एंड अ लॉट ऑफ इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर लॉन्ग टर्म ग्रोथ होता है. 1982 के एशियन गेम्स के बाद ही बहुत सारे स्टेडियम्स वगैरह आए थे इंडिया में. तो वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड कि दैट वे. पर जापान डज नॉट नीड इट, इट्स अ रिच इंडस्ट्रियल कंट्री, उनको उतना वो नहीं है, बट दे हैव उनके स्मॉलर सिटीज वगैरह में पीपल हैव बीन प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर अ लॉन्ग टाइम. तो
the last and final question on this topic, are they still relevant, the Olympics? Do you think
they
viewership
always
comes?
Yes.
I don't know how
always.
much viewership does it generate? I couldn't
They
find
may
much
not,
information on that.
they will, it will is even more more and more sports are shown to people in different way. They are the ultimate coming together of athletic
Country.
excellence on a country
I'm
level
sure-
as well.
Yep.
I'm sure they are probably less than football and stuff, but
I'm
they're
sure,
still going to be.
Yeah, football का
by
premier
huge-
event वाला ना.
by huge
वो तो
football
नहीं,
तो
उससे
बहुत ही,
नहीं.
football is
But I think
the
it
top
still
one, no
matters a
doubt.
lot more.
No,
It's a
for
good-
Kevin,
it matters because I
outside-
feel it's more, it's good, it's a good tradition. It's been going on for so long.
No, you know, it's prestigious.
And-
it's like it's prestigious, and it's outside of football जैसा sport. It is the only other place जहाँ पे you can get that sort of fame and recognition, acknowledgement. You know?
It's
So
an
if you
opportunity for other sports that
remove-
don't get the limelight much. I mean,
Exactly.
breakdancing is coming. You'll be able to appreciate breakdancing in the Olympics.
अबे और पता तुम्हें याद है इंडिया में हमारे पास एक नंबर 1 ब्रेक डांसिंग टीम थी जिसमें अभिषेक बच्चन, बोमन ईरानी और 2-3 और लोग थे. वो हैप्पी न्यू ईयर करके
You should
उनको
put, you
भेजना
should put
चाहिए.
John Abraham and breakdancing.
Kevin. दोस्ताना was not
At least you could have said
breakdance, Kevin.
weightlifting. Instead, you said breakdancing.
Kevin ends up revealing what he really wants eventually one day.
But I still remember, like, even last
That would be funny, though.
medal मिला था, it was a big deal. Like, even अपने को, I mean, I can talk about myself. Like, it was a very proud feeling जब इंडिया अभी भी एक हाथ medal जीतता है.
Obviously.
It's still a very
भाई,
proud feeling.
I watched archery भाई जब वो and I do not particularly understand the sport में क्या है, but moment I see an Indian playing, I'm like, yeah, the Indian should win. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
I don't even
Apart
find it a
from
particularly
countries
fun
like
word.
US and China, sometimes I feel they win so many medals they don't care. For everyone else, I feel it's a much more bigger deal for like.
No, but for them that's a thing, right? उनकी funding
With
उस
China
पे
and
best
US
होती
it's
है.
a big deal. It's not
Akash,
I know,
do you
when I was
understand?
staying in a
Do you
hotel
understand
when the
Olympics का number 1 point क्या था governments के लिए? Showing Olympic excellence is always a sign of which country is dominating.
dominant.
the
Yeah, no,
World's
no,
Fair
I
also.
get that. I get that. But I'm just saying for viewership, I'm talking about. In the US, I remember staying. The Olympics are on a big screen. Michael Phelps is swimming in the Rio. I think it was in Rio, and no one gives a shit about it. I remember I was talking. I'm like, oh, aren't you guys going to watch? Because they were sitting with me, some hotel guests as well. It's like, no, we don't watch.
I mean,
No one
depends.
was just paying attention.
So
But
I
I mean,
remember-
that's a small
Crowd पे होता है ना
sample.
Kevin. That's a very
Yeah.
it's a very small sample. Yeah.
So that's why.
I will always watch any Olympic event जिसमें उनकी वो एक लिस्ट
Oh,
बनाते हैं कि when Indians are playing, so I would always follow that list and वो. Do I watch random events जब वो athletics के 100, 200, 400 meters के finals होते हैं? That I like watching.
The weightlifting is amazing as well. Sometimes. But there's If you
What,
no,
Akash?
India does not. But the seeing these guys, the way they lift up these things is
Yeah, these
crazy.
Iranian
Does it
lifters
turn
and
you
वो
on?
सब.
Kazakhstan. Huh? What did you say, Kevin?
I said, Akash, does it turn you on?
Yes, Kevin, it does.
For
Let's
me, like
move on
Indian
quickly now.
2012 और 16 के बाद भी like Indian जो वो थे, like I don't want to say Sushil Kumar because अभी जो पंगा हुआ है.
No. That's
But,
why I refrain from mentioning him
Yeah.
Amrit after
That's
but I
everything.
was very
nice.
happy when he won. Yeah, India won. A silver
No,
and a
yeah.
bronze is a huge thing.
Very happy.
I'm not
But
happy
then
of how
this
things have
happens and
ended
you're
up.
like, so this type of thing happens and you're like, okay, choro. let's
विजेंद्र
not get-
सिंह यार, a local hero, like out of
Yep.
nowhere. इतने सारे अच्छे stories हैं. Abhinav Bindra, like these are all great people who came
Rajvardhan
close.
Singh Rathod double उसमें
ये जब
जीता था वो.
सिल्वर जीता था उसमें, yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't, again, shooting is a sport. Again, I'd never held a gun before. So I don't particularly understand. But an Indian one, and that's all that matters. So, you know.
So
Yeah,
we're
actually, I
all
want to
looking
watch
forward to-
Paralympics. So I was just saying that, like, we should actually. One of the things that I want to watch that I've never followed before is Paralympics, and that's because I've been watching this. I've been following this athlete called Mohammad Yasser, and so he's basically got only one hand. And that guy lives amazing. I mean, like the
he's in
amount of weight
weightlifting?
that guy can
He's in
lift. Yeah,
weightlifting?
Wow.
Oh, shit.
weightlifting, shot put, bunch of other things. And
Wait,
then
Punjab.
on top
He's
of
from
that,
Punjab से है ना ये?
he's from Punjab, and this
What
guy's
was the name
also a
again?
farmer.
Sorry, Muhammad?
Yasser.
Mohammad Yasser.
Yasser.
And this guy's also doing like farming and stuff. So like you can see him like chopping up grass, and it's amazing. So I'd love to watch him if he
Incredible.
ever competes.
I agree with Kevin that more people should watch the Paralympics because it's amazing what
Correct.
Yeah, actually, that's
everyone
true.
can do in that. There, it's amazing. I think we had an
Yeah,
episode
and
where we talked about it.
For all the people जिनको लगता है कि they are also super high level athletes.
Yeah,
उनका level of commitment and
We
dedication
wo-
is beyond.
we will never be
It's
able to
even
do
higher
what they
than
do.
the.
Akash,
it's even higher
I
than
was
the
not
normal
comparing
people.
them with us.
I mean, like,
हमारे
it's
जैसे
even-
लोग का कोई वो नहीं है
The
उनके साथ.
layman
I mean, if-
people, you know.
See, I would rate a guy like Mohammad Yasser who's lifting like 150 kilos with one hand compared to like a guy who's lifting 220 with both hands. I would rate this guy a lot more because he has to go through what kind of mental stress than things like that because of like, the
I think it's
shortcoming that he
मेरा
might
इसमें
have.
slightly different work. We should not even compare because
We
it's
should not compare.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's
No,
just
I'm
a
not
very
I'm not comparing because I'm comparing because of the fact that they don't get the limelight that they deserve.
Yeah, and that's
So
not
that is
the
why
other
we should-
athlete's
we
mistake.
should
Na?
give
It's
them-
our problem. Kyunki dekh, you mentioned him. The three of us there, we had no idea. So people have to mention it more. The other athlete की गलती नहीं है कि he is able to participate in the other thing. हम जैसे लोग जो सिर्फ able bodied athletes को follow करते हैं या information देखते हैं या promote करते हैं, we are the problem technically. दोनों athletes.
yeah. That's the
Yeah,
sad
I mean,
reality.
I'm talking for the people who are not following, saying that you
Yeah,
have
definitely.
to realize the commitment and the
Oh yeah.
mindset that these guys have to have compared to the others. The others at least know that they are born and they have that X factor, and the hard work they're putting helps them in
The
that
mental
way.
perseverance is amazing
Yeah,
in this
the
case.
mental
very
strength these guys
specifically.
have to go through is amazing.
100%.
I just want to say, Akash, even though your team won the Champions League, it still doesn't change the fact that they're
Oh, Amrit.
cheats and they didn't deserve it.
Amrit,
It was
What
such a
happened in
boring
Europa
game.
League?
I have to say this.
What a boring
Kevin.
game. I fell asleep. I wish.
And that is one thing I have to say about Chelsea is that the
Boring.
Chelsea finals have never been that interesting in ever.
They are,
Depends if you're Chelsea
they
supporter.
cheated, yaar.
At least my team gets trashed. The other teams go and thrash them and
Rightfully
Yeah.
so.
get knocked out.
My
okay?
team
So
goes
someone is
11 deep in
entertained.
penalties.
Akash just
The
because
end
अपनी
result
team जीत गई है इसलिए दोनों
Exactly.
काफी ये कर रहे हैं. So it's okay.
And
Just ignore
अपनी
these
team-
guys.
He said
And
a
like-
free team.
And what happened is it was found out later, guys, कि referee was seen in Russia. तो मतलब क्या हुआ? Corruption.
Amrit.
Corruption.
Amrit.
Amrit is going.
Amrit
Amrit is
Villarreal.
going. Amrit a 7th league placed team in La Liga, beat you guys, a second position.
Corruption. Corruption है भाई. They have corrupted everything. If हम हारे तो corruption, नहीं हुआ तो corruption.
That I agree. इंडिया में वो है कि कुछ भी अगर अपने उससे नहीं होता, the answer is corruption.
Was that referee also in Russia?
फेमस केस हुआ था ना कि क्या कहते हैं, किसी ने बच्चे पेरेंट्स ने स्कूल पे केस लगाया कि बच्चा एग्जाम में हर चीज में 0 आया है इसका, आपने पढ़ाया नहीं. फिर पता लगा कि बच्चा वाज एनरोल्ड इन अ डिफरेंट स्कूल ओनली.
what I feel bad about Europa League is that I really wish Arsenal was there, because bichare don't get a trophy first and foremost. So they were actually competing, but they got knocked out in the semi-final.
I don't understand. तो इस साल हम ट्रांसफर डिस्कस नहीं करने वाले, but has anyone rich been bought by anyone before we end this?
I don't think any clubs have money.
Hey, didn't you guys get Aguero or someone? तू क्या बोल रहा है?
For free. 33-year-old
Aguero. Get their latest. What was the guy you guys wanted to sign? We were talking about yesterday. I can't remember.
Wijnaldum.
PSG.
Yeah, Paris Saint-Germain offered like
Doubled
2.5 times the offer that Barca gave.
Doubled it.
And Barca presidents like, we can't afford him anymore.
अंबानी नहीं है अभी उसमें, इसलिए wait for Ambani to join.
You think Ambani will actually go into football?
Yeah, I don't know ownership clubs किस type के होते हैं, so I have no idea.
The guy who runs Venky's,
he might already have some.
Blackburn's owner is Venky's, but they're based out of the UK. And Tony Khan.
Because all these rich people, I've never seen them buying sports teams, except IPL is a different thing. But like,
you have
India,
to have
sports
passion.
team ko buying.
You have to. It's not a business decision, to be honest.
But they have opened a huge number of foundations in India.
Football. Yeah, that I know. Yeah.
Reliance Foundation is hiring kids from the
youth
grassroots level here.
Yeah.
Youth के लिए. So I'm happy if they do it inside India only. हमारी टीम 10 साल में.
I was curious in terms. I think Kevin answered my question. It's not a profitable business, I guess.
Compared to what Modi, I mean, Ambani already has. I accidentally said Modi. Sorry. That was not intended, by the way.
Yeah, it wasn't intended for
that
sure.
Not intended.
But it's just funny that name came out of your name. This is not getting cut. This is not getting cut. This is too funny. This is not getting cut.
Okay, you asshole.
अबे ये मूड में आ रहा है, भाग जल्दी काट.
Get to your point, Kevin. Quickly, let's quickly move on. Get to your point. Huh?
Kevin is warming up.
No, I meant Ambani.
This is too funny.
Compared to Ambani's other businesses, it is nowhere going to be even 1% as profitable. So,
I agree with you, Kevin. You are correct. I agree with you. Everyone say they agree with Kevin, so that he doesn't get angry.
I disagree. I think you should think about this. Ambani or whoever you mentioned, I have no idea. But you should think about it. Anyway, we'll end the podcast on that note right here.
Nice, guys.
Thank you guys for listening to this episode.
भाई देख, मैंने कहा था वार्म अप हो रहा है उसका भी, जल्दी कर, खत्म कर.
Thank you guys for listening to this episode of the Vele podcast. Before we end, I want to point out that we are currently making a Resident Evil 7 series. I should have actually put this in the intro. That will go up on YouTube, and you can find it on the Vele podcast YouTube channel. This week, the first episode will be up, and we'll be recording the second episode as well today only, and upload that next week. So, as usual, you can find this podcast on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. You can also find our episodes available on YouTube as well. Until next time, guys, take care. Bye.
Arigatou gozaimasu.